Son of the Gods is a 1930 pre-code Hollywood drama starring Robert Barthelmess and Constant Bennett, because I'm now doing a little Constant Bennett film festival. I'll see exactly how long this goes. Son of the Gods is, God help us, what's probably passes for a very liberal uh, pro-Asian film of the time, which means it's kind of horribly racist for now, where Robert Barthelmess stars as Sam Lee, who at the opening of the film gets horribly discriminated by some women who discover that he is a white guy who is a Chinese guy who's passing as white. That his father is Li Yin, a big wealthy, super wealthy guy. He ends up going to Europe, meets Constant Bennett, has a bit of romance with her. She seems like she's terribly tolerant of stuff like that. Has no she was engaged to an East Indian man. She claims, and if I'd actually been in love with him, it would have been serious. Uh, but her father breaks it to her that he is they say, a Chinaman, and she stomps up to him in the club and says, "You foul, horrible, lying cur," and yells a racial epithet at him, and then flogs him with her riding crop, smashing, cutting his face. He goes back to the States. Actually, his father, it turns out, was dying, gets back, but too late, and his father's dead. And he decides he's curses all white men, and he no longer will be a white man. He'll no longer be benefice like his father, who had taken up kind of Christian values. He will be just straight kind of Chinese businessman, very ruthless and all this stuff. Um, but it's okay, because it turns out in the end, his Irish, definitely more stereotypes of the kind of the happy Irish secretary brings her father in, who recounts in, I guess, what was originally a Technicolor reel but was rendered in sepia tones here, that he was actually a foundling white child that the cop had given um, to Yin Lee and his wife. But thinking, oh, he might be Chinese, but it's like, oh, it turns out he's not. Well, you better leave town quick, because some women are doing investigations on it. So that's why they relocated from San Francisco to New York. But Constance, who's gone on a complete bender, and drinking and dissolution, um, and was horribly ill, and her father went and found him, who he had also fallen into dissolution, and went to a taxi bar where white women, shock of shock, were paying were being paid by Chinese men to dance. He didn't do dancing on himself, but he did come there and just kind of watch from above, kind of a weird, kind of a, oh, I could have been, if Constance, I guess, would they would have accepted me if I had paid them enough. I could be dancing with Constance, or with a white woman, or something like that. I don't know. Um, and and now and so, in the end, they find out he's white, and he's like, oh, and but I still respect these people that were my actual parents. That, even though they're just adopted me, they were the true ones, not my white parents who just cast me off and never cared about me. But fuck, yeah, yeah, it's still pretty, very, very cringe inducing. Um, I know Robert Barthelmess from a later one of his, because he was in a Gene Arthur movie, Only Angels Have Wings, with Cary Grant, where he played kind of a sullen, disgraced pilot. And he was kind of okay for that. This one, he's playing obviously a lot younger than he actually is. Theo, come here. Theo, come on. Come on, Theo. Come on. Come on here. Come here. Okay. Oh. All right. Sorry. Film interviews. He's playing what's supposed to be. He comes off as fairly old, even though he's supposed to be playing young, especially at the beginning of this film. He's kind of leaden in this. I can see why him in sound pictures didn't come off that well, because he does not enliven this at all. He does not have any sprightliness. I mean, he's supposed to be kind of dour, but he's just like, he's leaden versus being dour or tortured, kind of just muffled. But Constant Bennett, this is our first chance with Constant Bennett, who, you know, we get to see have a racist tirade at the beginning and stuff like that. She actually does bring life to her character, I'll have to say that. So it will be interesting to see her going on. She does have a bit more of what you would call of a spark of a movie star. Not Jean Arthur levels, but yeah, she's definitely got a little bit more there. And I've actually started up with Sin Gets a Holiday and her opposite Basil Rathbone. It's like, there's some pep. It's funny when you can see some of the people who are the ones who have the pep, and they're put up against somebody who's doesn't have the spark, and you can really feel it, which is when you obviously you get two stars like Jean Arthur and a Jimmy Stewart opposite each other, or Jean Arthur opposite Cary Grant. That it's like, oh, okay, that's where you're running a little bit more on all cylinders there. That's where to go for stuff like that. But so this was an interesting kind of introduction to Constant Bennett. Also, just a little kind of a side trip into Richard Barthelme's sound career, which I think he was actually better in Only Angels Have Wings, because him being kind of leaden, dour, weighed down by his past, kind of went to his strength there. Simmering rage and resentment, working well, not the other stuff. Yeah, in his life. So and that's no slight against him as a person, just as an actor. Yeah, you can see when people just don't spring off the page, off the screen like that. All right. So yeah, that is Son of the Gods, and the first introduction to Constant Bennett, and probably a goodbye to Richard Barthelme, unless I bump into him again by happenstance. All right, more videos later.